Everybody, and we're gonna get started. And everyone here, everyone. Welcome Kim Ebert and her husband.
This is Todd.
And soon we'll have two AmeriCorps volunteers join us too. But I'm so excited about today and so excited about this year and our partnership. And I want to welcome Scott Jacobs. And Scott, if you want to just mention about the partnership and the grant.
Yeah, so this is a program, those who are on 8 o'clock service, or this is a program that we've been working on for about a year. So we are going to make a $25,000 donation to I Know I Can to help them fund a pilot program. So Kim will tell you a little bit more about that today. But I think the most exciting piece is really the volunteer opportunities for the congregation, more than the financial piece of it. So we really hope that this is something that everyone will participate in, learn more about what's going on in education within our community and how the role that all of us can play as we move forward. So I'll think about the gym.
Great. Well, good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
I'm so excited to see you all. My name is Kim Ebrecht, and I serve as the Senior Director of Programs for I Know I Can. I've been a part of the organization for 15 years, and prior to that, I was Director of Admissions at Capital University, and kind of had that, I think, that connection to higher education. But through my time at Capital, had worked with volunteers that were part of I Know I Can. And when an opening came about, I thought this is what I want to do because I can represent a lot of different colleges, but more importantly, I can help students get enrolled into college, which is something that I just have a great passion for. So what I thought we could do today is I want to be able to share a little bit about the kind of little history that I Know I Can, information about this program, and then I also want to talk about some of the volunteer opportunities that we have for you now, but I could see that list growing and evolving as we continue to work together. And some of you may have some interesting ideas as well. So want to be able to show that. So, okay, you have the presentation up there. That is great. So I just wanted to be able to show you a little bit of our history. So we were founded in 1988, and our founders are Techie Shackelford, Bob Weiler, Cliff Tyree, and Art Hobacker. Techie and Bob are still very active on our board and very much a part of the organization, which is exciting. And they all came together and just said, what can we do to help with college affordability? And that's kind of how I Know I Can started with, maybe we can raise some money and help students with their kind of those last dollars that they need to be able to afford a college campus. So we originally founded about, let's just get students to college. Let's get them into college and do whatever we can to make that happen. So we relied on volunteers, and I know some of you being from the area know Amy Farkas or know of the name Amy Farkas. She was the first executive director of I Know I Can. And I have had the pleasure of being able to work with her and get to know her very well and consider her a dear friend. And so she worked to recruit volunteers and help raise money so that we could do these last dollar grants. But what we quickly saw is the school counselors need help, that we need to be able to I think, do a little bit more hand-holding of the students and help them through each process of that college process, helping them to learn more about colleges, helping them learn about all the paperwork that's necessary in the college application process. So we worked with our volunteers to do a lot of training But when I came to I Know I Can in 2000, it was December of 2007, that's when the organization had gone through a major strategic planning process and said, we've got to be able to hire advisors and have a paid advisor supporting the high schools. And at that time, there were probably 21, 22 high schools in Columbus. If you don't realize, there's about just under 50,000 students within Columbus City School District. So it's a very large district. And with all those schools now, we're at about 19 high schools. We just needed more of a presence. So we hired 5 college advisors, and each of them were working with 4 high schools. So they were in a high school 1 day a week and then in the office to be able so that we can meet and do professional development. Well, very quickly we realized 1 day a week isn't helping the way we wanted it to help. And so probably, I think it was like 2015 is when our board came back together and said, you know what, we're going to hire 1 advisor per high school. And so that summer, we actually hired 19 people in one summer to help put an advisor in a high school, the same person that the students can interact with every day. Work closely with the counseling team, work closely with the school administrators, and really ramp up our college advising services that we offer. And so we help with college, like anything related to the college application process, the college admissions process. We help with that. But now, because we were in the school full time, we're able to help 9th and 10th graders as well and have time to be able to talk with them. Because what we see when we first started is like, okay, it's like the low hanging fruit. We're going to be able to get to these students, make a big difference. The problem is we needed to make sure that the 9th and 10th graders were ready to go so that we had a big cohort to be able to work with once they got to their senior year. And then as working with the 9th and 10th graders, we discovered, oh my goodness, we need to do some more as far as early awareness and take it down into the middle schools. And so we then started working with 6th, 7th, and 8th graders and by doing classroom presentations. The district has used some software tools. Naviance is one thing that they use. We currently are using School Links, but it's a tool that students can log in and do some assessments, and then we can kind of go over the results of those assessments. Some of the assessments help students learn more about themselves. Some help them look at the types of colleges that they might be a fit for. And so we just kind of would kind of help students go through that. But the problem was we didn't have enough time to really thoroughly review those assessment results with students, which is kind of where we have grown and expanded. We also are working with college students on certain college campuses. We do have a grant that we award to students. We award about $1.7 million every year. I think I'm jumping ahead of myself here, but let's go to the next one. I just wanted you to see the districts that we work with. So we were founded to work with Columbus City Schools. It was probably about 5 years ago that we actually expanded. And it was actually Franklin County Jobs and Family Services that came to us and said, would you expand into some additional districts? And this was a big discussion for our board because we were founded for the purpose of supporting Columbus City Schools. But we did, we expanded into Whitehall. We are in Southwestern, which is your Grove City area. And then just within the past year, we actually expanded to Reynoldsburg City Schools through the Gear Up program, which is a federal program that follows students from 8th grade through high school graduation. So it ends up, and then into college, it ends up being like a 7-year funding process to help more Reynoldsburg students go into college. So just a little bit about some of the things that we do. We have every year we bring in a team of AmeriCorps College guides, and they will be here shortly. They ended up downtown, so they're coming. Yeah. So they're taking you to our Columbus this morning. But we hire them because they are all recent college graduates or about to finish college. And many of them are Columbus City School graduates. And so they are able to share about their experience and become a near peer of those students. And so their stories that they're able to share about their own journey into college is very relevant, and it's a story that our students seem to really connect with. And so if we can get more of these young people in the classrooms, that definitely helps. I mentioned school links. We also provide fee waivers for some applications, college applications, as well as if the student needs to take an ACT or SAT, we will help with that if they don't qualify for a regular fee waiver. We have our own scholarships that we offer. We help with FAFSA completion, which is one of the areas that we're hoping we can get some of you to volunteer with. We also try to do some financial education. So we try to meet with parents and students prior to college starting to just talk about the reality of student loans, that most people need to have a college student loan to be able to afford college, but making sure that they borrow the right amount and don't borrow too much. And so we talk to them about that. We talk to them about what expenses to expect while in college. If the student's going to commute versus live on campus, what is that going to do as far as, when the student is home, they need time to study. They can't necessarily be watching siblings or, doing a lot of the household things because they are going to need that time to study. By working with college students, we do a lot in regards to college transition and persistence. And we've actually created a very robust summer melt program where we're trying to prevent the melt of students not enrolling in college. And so we are doing a lot of phone follow-up. We create some workshops for students that of the students who graduated from high school, we're doing probably weekly touches with them. We are doing a texting campaign to say, okay, you need to make sure that you end up in that college in the fall. And so what's happening? Some of our students get selected for verification, so we're trying to help them through the paperwork of enrolling in a college. And if you've had students go to college, you know what that paperwork is like, and the emails, and it's just a lot. And then we also will do some summer enrichment workshops for students. So we've done some things for middle schools, like exposing them to STEM related topics, using the PAST Foundation as a way for them to go in and do a robotics class. Or we did a kind of a CSI type of thing where they had to solve a mystery by the end of the camp, but they were using math, they were using science, they were using their problem solving skills. So that was a lot of fun. Some of the things that happened with our advisors when they're in the schools is they were doing a lot of one-on-one presentation or one-on-one meetings with students. Some of those in the senior year, we're trying to make sure that we meet with every senior 3 or more times. Throughout the freshman, sophomore year, we're trying to get to at least about 50% of the students that we at least have one-on-one with. And then by the time they get to their junior year, at least they're familiar with us, they know our name. And then we try to get with them at least a couple times to see what their plans are and what they're thinking about as far as college. We do encourage students, so this is what we consider our milestones. And if students get through these, the likelihood that they'll enroll in college is far greater. We want to see them take 2 or more college entrance exams. The district offers the SAT for everyone. So what's nice is the students don't even have to leave school or go on a Saturday. They get it during one of the days in school. With colleges not necessarily right now requiring the ACT or the SAT as much as they did, that milestone hasn't been as important, but we'll be interested to see within the next year what colleges decide to do. We're hoping they just eliminate that. We also want to see students complete 2 or more college applications, and we talk a lot about fit and match with students, that we don't want students to, we want them to understand where they are academically and what kind of colleges will fit with where they are academically. So we look for them to apply to a variety of colleges, and we always make sure there's a plan A, there's a plan B, plan C, whatever you need to do to make that happen. We work with them on completing the FAFSA. Our FAFSA completion rate increased dramatically last year, which we were excited to see, but that is key. If we can get the students to complete that and get the parents to share their information, then we have a good chance of getting them enrolled in a college. And then we want to make sure they apply for our own funding, and then we're making sure that they complete the school links lessons. Just a brief overview as far as the types of grants and scholarships we offer. So we have the I Know I Can grant, and this particular grant dates back to Techie and Bob founding I Know I Can. It's $1,200 per year. It's renewable for up to 4 years. We just want to make sure that students have a 2.25 high school GPA and that they are eligible for the Pell Grant to be able to receive these funds. We also have a Dream Big scholarship that our board is realizing $1,200 just isn't a lot. It's not even paying for books right now. Books are a lot more. So they agreed to take some money from our endowment and try a pilot program, which we titled the Dream Big Scholarship. And we increased the award up to $3,500. We allow the schools to help select the students because they know a lot about the students. And so they kind of come back. Any student who applies, their application is given to the schools. There's a committee that then provides us with who their top, if it could be 5 to 10 people that they would want to award from their school. And the problem is this program started right before COVID hit. And so this past year, we saw the highest number of applications. We saw the highest number of students being able to take advantage of it. One of the criteria to renew is that there is kind of an intrusive advising piece to it, where we have a staff member who is reaching out to those students, and they have to interact with her at least once a semester while they're in college. And so the idea is we're trying to find out if they're doing okay and help them avoid any roadblocks that they may be facing. And so we've learned a lot about our students. What we're trying to prevent from happening is that stopping in and stopping out. We want to keep them on a steady path to finishing. And then our Founder Scholarship, that is up to $10,000 a year. And it goes to a student where our board reads. We usually get about 200 to 300 applications for that. Our board kind of selects the top maybe 25 to 30 that they want to interview. The students go through an interview, and then we select those winners. We've also had some colleges agree to work with us and collaborate with us. So for example, like Ohio Wesleyan has agreed that they will give $10,000 on top of what other financial aid the student may have received. So we have Ohio Wesleyan, Capital, Otterbein, Ohio Dominican. So it's exciting to kind of see. Hi guys. You can kind of come down here, and there's some chairs right here.
Category.
I Know I Can grant. Usually it's about 1,000 is what we can go up to. For the past couple of years, we haven't had that many apply, so we're talking about funding. So I'll introduce you in a second. Dream Big Scholarship tends to be, we're looking for like 125 to 130. And then the Founders Scholarship at the end is around probably 15 to 20. That's what we award. Yeah. Good question. And then just quickly, you probably heard in the news, the Columbus Promise Scholarship. So this is one where the city of Columbus reached out to I Know I Can in Columbus State and said we would like to give it was about $5 million to be able to set up a Columbus Promise Scholarship. A lot of large cities have a Promise Scholarship for students. So with ours, since it's a pilot, it's excuse me, only open for Columbus City School students at this point, and it's only for Columbus State Community College. So if our students go there, then everything is paid, and they get an additional $1,000 to be able to use towards their books, towards you know, some of the expenses that come up since most of the students commute. It could help for gas money, that sort of thing. And this has been exciting to see. We had about 600 students enroll in the fall. which is huge. Usually it was like 150, 200 that would enroll immediately after high school. And so this definitely made a difference. We're interested to see kind of, okay, did those students persist from first semester to second semester, which we should find out soon. So through all of this and being a definitely a organization that's been about college entrance, what we have seen is it's time to relook at how we do things. This pandemic, especially if you were in chapel, I had said our population of students has had a tremendous impact in a negative way. I think students have, because they haven't had that in-person regular check-in with that caring adult in their life, or a school person that they connected with when it started out all virtual, we're seeing our middle school kids and early high school kids have kind of lost how to form that goal or how to create that aspiration for themselves as far as what it is they want to do. And so it kind of with our board and within our own leadership team, we decided, hey, we have got to go back to how can we re-engage these students into forming their plan and figuring out what they want to do. I think the other thing is when you look at what is coming to Columbus as far as new job growth, and when you look at like the Intel coming, you have the Facebook location coming, or well, part of it's already open. Meta is here. There are some big companies that are coming to Columbus, and they're going to need the workforce to ensure that they're successful. And so these, in fact, Intel has actually already met with the community colleges around, like within like an hour, hour and a half of Columbus, to say, and with some other colleges as far as programs they should be offering to ensure that they're going to have the workforce. And so that brings it to, okay, not all those positions are going to need a college degree. They're going to need a certificate, they're going to need training, but they're not necessarily going to need a college degree. And so how can I know I can really take a step back and say, what can we do to make sure that all students is exposed to some sort of career readiness? And that's where this pilot came about. And you know, you talk about in the chapel, her service had to do with infusion and grace infusion is what she said. And when you all contacted us, we were in the midst of planning this, and it's like, wow, what that grant could do to infuse this, what the types of activities we want to do, and it's huge. So we are looking at our career readiness pilot. And this, I want to introduce Ann Creedy and Tara, and they are both AmeriCorps Ohio College Guides, and actually have started, we've been able to start some of our presentations in middle schools, and they are over at Woodward Park, which is the middle school where Salem feeds into, and then Woodward Park feeds into Northland High School, where they both went to Northland High School. So, they're Columbus City School grads, but they have been actually doing some of they've been doing all of the presentations in the classrooms with the students, and have just started seeing kind of the spark with the students and their interest, and them talking about what it is they want to do, the students talking about what it is they want to do after high school. So I think when we look at kind of the goals of our readiness pilot and what we want to see happen, we want all students to be exposed to career development. And that comes about as learning about themselves and what their values are, what their strengths are, but then also just hearing about careers, seeing careers. And then also looking at what is necessary to get into those types of careers. And some of them may not even be able to articulate what the career is that they want, but they know the types of things they like doing. Well, helping them connect the dots as far as, okay, what you like doing connects to what type of career. And that's where the School Links program allows for some career research. It allows for learning about, what is the likelihood of getting hired? What is the income level like when you go into a position like this? What's involved in trying to learn about those careers? I mentioned we want students to really focus in on what their interests are and what's their passion, what fuels them. And then getting them to kind of document these things. And we've created binders for the students. So every week when we meet, they're adding things to this binder. So our goal is by the time the semester ends, or the year ends, we'll be able to take this binder and it's hopefully a reference for them. So, and then we as an organization are really working with the Workforce Development Board of Central Ohio. Our executive director will be having a meeting with somebody higher up with Intel to kind of learn more about their needs. We are also looking with, like, Nationwide has a huge calling center. And so they've reached out and said, what can we do to maybe possibly hire seniors in high school to be able to work and earn some money while they're in school? So I know yes, we're working with the schools and we're working with the students, but we're also trying to educate ourselves on what is needed in the community and not go into this kind of with blinders, but making sure we talk to district officials, counselors. What do the students want? What do parents want to see for their kids? So we're trying to do a lot. So it's a big community approach to kind of reformulating who we are. We will still definitely be doing the college enrollment. That's very important, but we are adding this career readiness as well. Just so you know, our pilot school's up here. So we have a middle school that then feeds in to the high school. So Champion Middle School feeds in the east. We're going to be Lyndon McKinley, the middle school and the high school are all in one building. So we'll be working with Lyndon McKinley. Hiltonia feeds into West High School. As I said, Wardwood Park into Northland. World Languages, that involves a lot of early language learners and ELL students, as well as English speaking students. And so a lot of those students will end up at Whetstone High School or at Columbus North International High School is another place where they will end up. And then Yorktown Middle School feeds into Walnut Ridge. And so those are kind of the schools that we will be working with. And again, at the middle schools, it'll be with the 8th graders, and then the high school 9th and 10th graders. We will be in the schools once a week, and that is where our AmeriCorps College Guides will be leading those lessons with the students. We'll be taking them on field trips to work sites and then also to college campuses. Again, we want to give these students a visual of what they're going to be looking at. And that's such an exciting thing. We have connected with a company that offers virtual reality Oculus goggles. And it comes with a software already loaded into it where students then can try their hand at doing some of these different jobs that are a part of the software. So the one I saw was about changing oil in your car. And you actually feel like you're unscrewing one of the screws under the car. They put the car up on the lift, you can unscrew it, and then the oil trickles out. And then they tell you the wrench to use and the oil filter to put in. Another colleague of mine did something with an electrician and actually got into one of those cherry pickers and he felt like he was up in the air, and then he was adjusting some of the electrical lines, and he said actually once it was over he felt a little woozy. So it's very lifelike, and I think one of the things we're hoping as we work with these companies is that they will add a healthcare component, because Nationwide Children's Hospital, if you weren't aware, is just such a huge supporter of our community, and they are ones that are very interested in how they can get some of these folks to eventually work within the hospital setting. Maybe it's more of an entry-level job, and then eventually as their education continues, that can grow. but they are very interested in healthcare related training for students. So we're hoping that something like that will be created within this Oculus guide. We have an online platform, a company we've worked with called the Opportunity Network that will help us with our career fluency. It provides a platform, and it is something where it will include lessons on, and they're trying to get people away from saying soft skills and just saying skills, because skills are important. They're not soft, they're not hard, they're just important. And so things like related to customer service, how to network, how to connect with people, how to get a mentor. And so we have some lessons on that. We have some lessons on just when you go in and look at a job description. Have you ever looked at a job description? What are some keywords that you need to look at, and why does this position appeal to you or not appeal to you? What are the keywords that appeal to you? Okay, let's start to look for jobs related to that. What are some things you can be doing now in high school to make sure that you're qualified for some jobs? So they have a program that's going to allow us to be able to offer these lessons to students. And it helps us because this, it finally got decided. It was probably about halfway through the first semester. So literally we're developing this in schools in session. So the thing with Opportunity Network is it gives us a little bit of foundation that we don't have to create. We can customize it, but then we'll be able to implement it quicker than if we had to create it ourselves. And then this just kind of shows some of people wearing the Oculus, the Oculus goggles, and you can kind of, I don't know if they're big enough, but you can kind of see where there's logistics in there. There's, cutting wood and using some of those machines. There's actually, through this company, you can get enough training where you can earn a certificate. And in most cases, when people go through each of the modules, they are eligible then to kind of go to the company and use the equipment themselves. And usually they do pretty good. The transition from seeing it virtually versus in person, they're pretty well qualified to be able to do the job. What we're getting as far as the software is just kind of a basic experience, not necessarily a full-blown training. So one thing that was mentioned, and I know when your folks came to visit with us, is how are we going to know if this is successful? What are we going to do? So we have our own database where we track every interaction that we have with students. We kind of decided that the way the database is created now, it's more for just college entrance and tracking where students go to college. We get the National Student Clearinghouse data, so we know whether or not students ultimately enroll on a college campus, and then we get confirmation if they graduated. But we're actually in process of creating a new database where we'll be able to do a better job tracking careers, tracking job entry, certifications, associate degrees, as well as four-year bachelor degrees. And we're hoping that maybe we'll get more information for students if they go on to grad school and being able to track that. And so one thing we will be looking at is the number of interactions that students have with our organization. We will be looking at how many times they met with us and what were those interactions with us. We will be looking at do they attend the site visits, whether it's to a work site and or a college site. And we're planning to do some training with the students as far as what are the types of questions you can ask, allowing some reflection time. So when we get back from the college campus, what is it that you learned? What did you get out of that? What did you like? What didn't you like? And we will be offering pre and post evaluations, kind of like we're going to start second semester, which is the week of January 23rd. So we'll do a pre-assessment then, and then we will do one in May. And so what we hope to see is a growth in kind of their mindset when it comes to college and career, and do they have a plan, at least an initial plan by the time they finish. And we want them to understand also that the plan isn't necessarily this is what you're going to do, that a plan is fluid and it can definitely, as you grow and learn new things, it is going to change and grow with you and reflect your interests. And we want students to understand that that's okay. We will be doing some of those things. The other thing we'll be looking at is when it comes to our volunteer events is kind of getting feedback from all of you related to the events, what you thought of them, how maybe you could have been used differently during those events. You know, we've been probably 3 years without really using any volunteers because of the pandemic. So we need to kind of get back into that. These are just some pictures. Our fabulous AmeriCorps team that is on my left. And then the two pictures, Rashida, who is one of our AmeriCorps, this is her presenting to a class. This particular building is Yorktown, and the principals have definitely been a part of that, making sure that they're in there observing things. And they made the comment they've never seen the kids so engaged, and they decided that they didn't want it to be in a classroom. They wanted it to be in the library where there were the round tables. So we do a lot of our activities during each lesson is more peer interactions and but just like peer talking and reflection, and just getting them then to open up to one another about kind of their hopes and dreams, that sort of thing. As I mentioned for this, we're going to be using AmeriCorps, and tomorrow you all got the half sheet. We are going to be here in your kitchen baking some cookies, which is going to be fun. And but one of the things they have to do is a service project. If you're not able to come, but you happen to have some extra time today and want to make some cookies, we will definitely take your donations. We will be here at the church between 11 and 2 tomorrow. And then from there, we're going to deliver the cookies to shelters. Because one thing we learned is that a lot of the shelters definitely have meals for people, but they don't always have desserts. And that's why we decided to do kind of like a cookie bake. So, and a lot of our staff's going to be making cookies, which is nice. But I wanted these guys to just kind of introduce themselves and share a little bit about very quickly, because I know we have what, like 7 more minutes. Okay. Just a little bit about your time, yeah, in the schools and how that's been going.
Yeah, hi, my name is Tara O'Dari again. I'm currently a senior at The Ohio State University, studying marketing with minor in international business. And like Kim said, I'm at Woodward Park, and I'll be starting my presentation at Northland soon. So my time at Northland, that definitely I had realized when I first started, students were a little hesitant to open up and share. But it's going to be my 4th week there, and they're more open and they're making friends within the classroom because they've been out for like so long that they weren't able to have this interaction with them and sharing about what they're interested in. It's really nice learning about them, that sometimes they have questions and they're like, oh, I want to go to this college, but they don't realize that what they want to do is not offered in that college. So they're using like LinkedIn to kind of do their own research about, oh, this is a big school, I don't want to go there. So it's really just to see that and becoming part of that. It's been good. So yeah, and I'm also learning a lot through them and through this presentation as well, even though I am in college.
Good morning, everyone. My name is NPD. I'm currently a student at Ohio State as well. And working with I Know I Can through AmeriCorps has been a great experience for me so far. I kind of did a full circle, because when I was in high school, I was a recipient of one of the awards that I Know I Can offer, and that definitely helped me with my books and other fees that came along with being a college student. I give presentations at Woodward Park Middle School, and I also went to Woodward. Just seeing the kids like wanting, like their willingness to learn about college and what life after high school is like, and me being able to tell them has been a great, it has been a great experience. I love that they have aspirations, and they definitely keep in mind that, oh, after high school, having some kind of plan is very important, and I'm able to like implement that a little bit more into them and like empower them and be like, it's okay, like you guys are still middle schoolers, but like once you get into high school, you won't realize how fast your primary school will be, and then post-secondary education is very important. And I'm kind of in there telling them I am able to help you, or like tell you a little bit about that, so that you are you feel empowered, and that you feel like you have the knowledge to be able to do those things after high school. And I just love doing that. And the full circle moment really gave me perspective into it. And I'm like, yeah, I like that these kids feel inspired and educated about what their future could potentially look like. Yeah.
Yeah, I think also going off of that, like being myself, also receiving the I Know I Can grant, I'm able to also talk about how that money helps me in like my college, because books are expensive. So I think that also keeps them really engaging. It's like, oh, I don't have to worry about all the financial needs when I am in college, because I know that's sometimes a huge thing, even when we are in 8th grade. And I also go to Northland to work with seniors for like application and stuff. And that's one of their fear. It's like, if I do go to college, how will I fund this? So being able to show them that I Know I Can is there, and there's like 4 scholarship, and having that Columbus promise, they're able to kind of apply that and not worry about that also makes me really happy, because that was one of my biggest worries, like how would I be able to fund my college. And I think I Know I Can, and a lot of my counselors helped me apply to a lot of other scholarship. I thankfully don't have to pay for it, and I love being able to do that for students there through I Know I Can. So I really love being at AmeriCorps. And I think one thing about us both being in college is they're able to relate, like, oh, they're in college, they're only like a few years older than us. We can have that more of a peer-to-peer connection, which they might not even feel that comfortable to talk to with a counselor. So I love that they're so like, okay, choosing the college, let me ask her this question. So I love being there for them in that way.
Thank you, guys. You're kind of like, whoo, yeah. And I appreciate you being here. The only other thing I wanted to show you is this is kind of our initial list of volunteer opportunities. There is this link on here that, and when we send it electronically, you'll just be able to click on it. But you can go in and indicate what you might be interested in doing. And then we will get back to you with more details. Some of these things, the dates need to be finalized, and not all of our FAFSA workshop dates are set yet at the schools. And with the FAFSA workshops, I just wanted to say, you wouldn't necessarily have to help students actually or families do their FAFSA, but it may be a matter of just helping to greet people and talk to them while they're waiting for somebody to help them. Or just asking them what they want to do once they finish high school. It may be helping to check people in once they arrive. So now some of you may have children that have recently gone through college or in college, and you're a pro at the FAFSA. And so we might use you for that part.
Just to mention, we'll have a class next week at 9 o'clock, and we'll talk about details about this, and encouraging people to volunteer and sharing the link. And yeah, so,
Great.
And I've done several FAFSA forms recently.
Yeah, they're a joy. And one of the things that AmeriCorps, they have to do 5 service projects throughout the year. So we are going to be doing one in April. It's a beautification project that we typically do at one of the schools. We're hoping maybe it can be something at Woodward Park that we could do. And it may be planting flowers, putting down some mulch, maybe building a picnic table. It just kind of depends on what the school wants and what it needs. And then we also hope that we can get students from the school to join us as well, which is always fun for them. And the district right now has a requirement where students have to earn so many hours of internship hours. It's 120 hours. So ideally it's 30 hours a year that they are in high school, but they are allowed to start earning hours in 8th grade. So this is a way for them to also get those internship hours. So I have talked a lot. I want to see what kind of questions you all have or comments you might have.
Okay,
Yeah.
and if I could just hold that thought, Amy Gilmore is on Zoom, and she leads the team that will help us to implement this year to partner. So, she is gonna help people to volunteer and help the publicity, and so thank you, Amy, so much for your leadership. I'm gonna go, but there's 5 minutes or so to discuss.
Great.
Richard, take it.
Yeah.
Well, it sounds like a lot of your program happens during the school year. I'm wondering what happens during the summer?
Oh, yeah, sure. So during the summer, we are doing what we call summer melt work. And so there's a couple of things that are happening. We are working with the recent college grads to make sure that they enroll in college. So we are doing, we have a texting software that we use, and we are sending regular reminders to students that, are you signed up for your orientation date? Do you know when your bill needs to be paid? Have you done your housing forms? Have you talked with your roommate if you are gonna live on campus? Just basic, quick, kind of little tidbits. And we find what happens by getting those, that the students are calling in, or they're just responding via text, but it's through the computer. And so then we're able to respond back and get them the information or call them back. And so that is a way to try and be a little more proactive with the students. And then we are also working with current college students to ensure that they're going to return for the next year. And so we offer a few workshops during the summer where students can come and meet us. We actually are in process of, we were given a grant from Bread Financial that we are buying and creating a mobile unit, and the mobile unit will have Wi-Fi in it. And so what we will do is take it to different locations where students will be able to, if they need help with their FAFSA, we can help them right there. Last year, we actually met in the Walmart parking lot in front, off of Morris Road. And Walmart was terrific. They're like, sure, whatever space you need, go ahead and take it. We had 125 students show up, and they just wanted to, and we also had some college reps join us as well. And so they could ask, we had juniors show up, so they were able to ask colleges just about their college. And then we had students seniors who had just graduated, be able to ask the colleges more specific questions about their enrollment into the school. So that got very busy, very hectic. And then we had some people that were selected for verification and really didn't realize it. So they were kind of in a hold, and we were able to help them figure out what paperwork was needed so that then they would be able to enroll in college. And hopefully it would be a smoother process for that. And so we did that mobile unit a couple of times. Last year when we did it, it was in conjunction with the Workforce Development Board. So they had somebody there to talk about their training programs. So maybe you don't want to go to college, but you want to do some sort of training. They were able to give out information. So some of the customers just stopped by and helped. And then we did another one right before school began. And we were able to get students to kind of share. We recorded some of the students just sharing some, we'll have to send some of those to you, just information. I think that's where I met you.
That's what I was going to talk about as well.
Yeah.
It's like those the fairs that we have, they're very helpful. I actually personally have like 3 of my friends that started their college journey because they came to that. And then 2 of the students, seniors, they also found that one of the college they really liked was there, so they were able to come learn and apply, and she got in. So she actually is thinking about committing to that school. So I was also part of that. So I had recently came back from my internship, and I was like, I need a job, I don't know what to do. So I went there, and then I found Kim, and I was like, this is perfect. It matches my schedule. So I'm gonna go ahead and like kind of take on this role. So I really like that there are people who come there as a rep they're able to answer almost everything that students have questions. And I know ICANN has their own table for their, if students haven't submitted some type of form or anything, they are just able to do that right there, so they don't have to worry about it. So those fairs are really, really helpful, I would say.
And yeah, the other thing with Columbus or with the summer is just the Columbus Promise Program, because it was the first year. We're working very closely with Columbus State to make sure those students have done all that they need to do to be able to enroll.
If a student struggles, once you help them get in, are you offering any monitoring or resources that they reach out?
Yes, so we have a group of folks called the College Navigators. And so they are on college campuses, like if it's Ohio State, Columbus State, they're there once or twice a week because we have so many students there. Other schools, they may be there every other week or once a month. But they are doing training to get to know the resources that are on campus. And either they will point the student in the right direction, or they will physically take the student to that office and get them help. And we do have some of our college partners will share how their students are doing. Others, because of FERPA policies, they tend to, say, well, we can talk to you off the record about the student. But most colleges, if they know somebody else is willing to help the student, we can find somebody who will help us and make it happen. But yeah, that is the big thing, is getting the student to open up and share with us what their challenge is, so that we can address it and get them to kind of move on.
Yeah, so I go to Ohio State and there's a navigator for there. So I will receive, if she has a schedule change, she will it's a text that just comes through. And then if there's something that's happening in campus that she knows, she would also send that. So it's helpful for us. Sometimes there's also incentive that they provide. So if you're meeting with them and kind of sharing how you're doing, that kind of encourages the student to go. So they do send a lot of text about when they're meeting and when they're on campus, or if you want to meet them outside of that time frame, they're very open to doing that as well. And they kind of help you, because for the grant, you have to submit your FAFSA and everything like that every year. So if you haven't done that, they also remind you saying, hey, you have this money, make sure you turn those things in so you can get those money. So there's a constant reminder, if I know I can.
There is, yes.
So it's kind of hard to miss.
That's right. Constant reminders, yeah.
Looks like there's a question
Yes.
online. Nyla?
Hello.
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, I have a comment. I was a 2-year volunteer for I Know I Can. It's probably been about 15 years ago. The I Know I Can organization and staff were truly amazing to work with. I was assigned to Beechcroft High School. I actually was volunteering along with what turned out to be my 5th grade teacher from Worthington. We didn't realize it right away. The one thing that I really came away with was the lack of respect from the students in today's schools. It was at times difficult to work with these young people. And I encourage people to volunteer. I thought it was a great experience. I learned a lot, helping them through the FAFSA night and working along with the guidance office and all that was great. But I just want people that are going to jump into this kind of opportunity realize it's not what we knew.
It's not, and the result of the pandemic, student behavior is kind of at an all-time high as far as poor behavior. The principals have talked about, like last year's freshmen, if you thought about it, the last time they were in school full time was 6th grade. So like just how their bodies have changed and they've developed, there was just a lot of problems with 9th graders throughout the school. So yeah, it is, plus they're young people too, and so they're chatty and they're all wanting to get on social media and so you really learn how to adapt.
I personally would say the woodwork part, I haven't had the
yeah.
problem. I was surprised. I was going in my first day saying, okay, this is their 8th grader. They will be how I was when I was in 8th grade. But I think them having no phone during classroom, it really helps because they can only take it out if you are doing a survey or something like that. But I was surprised because I haven't actually had an issue. And you have to say, hey, bring it back together. They are kind of like listening and they do
Yeah, right.
kind of stop. So it was surprising for me. But high school is a little bit different story, I would say, because I don't know, they're just a little bit older and it's kind of hard to, I think, talk to them and kind of get them to open up. But 8th grade has been good, I would say. All 3 of my classes that I present, and one of them she was my teacher, former teacher, because I went to Woodward Park as well. So she's like, hey, listen to Tara, like, so she's there if they are not behaving. But other 2 classes, they're pretty good about listening and doing their work and asking questions. And sometimes we take in candy, so they're extra questions.
Candy, yeah, gift cards,
Yeah, and some of the students, they just have a lot to share. So it's pretty good.
I know we're about to start. I will be at the your fellowship time after the service. So if you have more questions, let me know. It was a pleasure seeing you all, and I just want to say thank you so much for your support of our programs and for, more importantly, our students. That's who's going to benefit from this, and so just thank you so much. Really appreciate it.
Thank you.
Yeah. I know.